Top 10 new Isekai anime with an overpowered MC. Who doesn't love getting transported into another world while kicking the ass of some bad guys and winning the girls? Today, we're going to speak about some new Isekai anime that have graced our presence. Are you ready? Well, I'm ready. Let's get started. Let's start things off with I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level. This particular anime is definitely set to appease those who enjoy Isekai that is set within the world of video games. The story has us follow the afterlife of a corporate slave, Azusa Aizawa. After she dies due to overworking, she was given a second chance by a goddess who gives her immortality and a chance to live a better life in another world. She decides to live her new life taking care of her farm, guarding the nearby village, and killing a few slimes per day as a routine. However, her monotonous life for 3 centuries takes a turn when she comes to the realization that she has reached the maximum level possible for inhabitants in their world through killing slimes alone. With her newfound strength, she finds herself exposed to new friends and acquaintances as her life changes drastically. This anime practically embodies power fantasies, and having a female main character brings a breath of fresh air as well. However, the 8th Sun, are you kidding me, has us coming back full circle. While elements from the previous entry exist, this time, the story takes a fresher course. The story is centralized around the 25-year-old Shingo Ichinomiya as he one day wakes up in a new world, and inside the body of a 6-year-old to boot. What made things worse or better was the fact that he still had his memories of working hard at a firm company in his previous life. The boy that he was possessing was Wendelin von Benno Baumeister, the 8th son of a poor noble family. Eager to change things for himself, he uses his newfound magical aptitude to achieve financial and social status to live a better life. With both entries up to now being somewhat relaxed, I'm Standing on a Million Lives decides to add tension and drama into the mix, and does so in style. The story has us follow the pessimistic Yusuke Yatsuka, a man who hated living in Tokyo and the people around him. He always found himself happier in a virtual world rather than trying to get along with people around him. One day, he found himself disappearing along with Lu Shindo and Kusue Hakazaki into a mysterious game world. When he came to, he found himself surrounded by enormous monsters, and that he was brought into the world by Shindo and Hakazaki. The goal he was given was to complete a quest in 14 days. With the world containing its own rules and structure, Yatsuka, Shindo, and Hakazaki must work together and discover the mystery behind the strange world they find themselves in and get out. The danger practically drips with each new episode of this series. However, this next entry brings us back into familiar grounds as suppose a kid from the last Dungeon Boomies moved to a starter town. Brings us back into the power fantasy realm in quite a unique fashion. It gives the answer to the age-old question, just what would happen if an NPC that lives beside the last dungeon would end up near one of the beginner towns in a role-playing game? That is exactly the case in this tale of Lloyd Belladonna, who considers himself the weakest in his village, yet routinely defeats powerful enemies since childhood. In order to live out his desire to become a soldier, he travels to the kingdom of Azami in order to take part in their academy. With such an out-of-place element that defies common sense, it's safe to say that the kingdom ends up being just as perplexed. Lloyd's innate power just might end up being the factor that they needed to end all wars surrounding the kingdom. The premise, while silly, takes a somewhat serious tone, while the hidden dungeon only I can enter stays different from the rest by adding a bunch of ecchi elements into the isekai premise. Of course, we're not complaining. The story has us follow Noir Starga, a nobleman who is somehow still at the bottom of the social hierarchy. This caused other nobles to treat him as a lesser. However, unbeknownst to many, he had the ability to speak with the Great Sage, an oracle who will grant Noir knowledge regarding absolutely anything. When his attempts at a normal job fails, he tries to join the Hero Academy in order to grow stronger. The Great Sage sets up Noir with Olivia's servant, an enchanted maiden who gives him extremely powerful abilities that can change reality as he likes. However, the catch was that the abilities caused him to lose his health, and in order to restore it, he must give into his worldly desires, which causes quite a few saucy scenes. While the fan service elements within this anime is there for all to see, this next anime, The Saint's magic power is omnipotent, takes a more wholesome approach. The story is set in the kingdom of Salutania, known for its infestation of monsters that cause issues around the world. While the kingdom's order of knights usually deal with them, they were eventually overwhelmed, causing the Grand Magus to summon a holy maiden named the Legendary Saint in order to fight against these beasts and bring back peace. However, the summoning ritual goes haywire as it was revealed that 2 holy maidens were summoned accidentally. Our main character, Sei Takanashi, found herself left to her own devices as the other girl was named the Saint. She ended up working in the Medicinal Flora Research Institute, finding her latest passion working there. When she has a fateful encounter with the Third Order of Knights, she comes to the realization that her abilities as a saint will end up influencing her new new life. A relatively tame premise, yet with a strong impact. A formula shared with our next entry. Banished from the hero's party, I decided to live a quiet life in the countryside. The story has us follow the D-rank adventurer Red. Red lived an average life where he worked hard and dreamed of opening his own apothecary. Eventually, he gained a live-in partner and assistant named Rit, who was the princess of Duchy Lagervia, and an adventurer who gives up all of that to join him. While Red was generally loved by everyone, he had a secret that he only shared with Rit, and that was that his real name was Gideon, a hero and brother to the hero Ruti Ragnarsson. After he was kicked out of the party after their fight against the Demon Lord due to them deciding that he was weak, Red now lives a peaceful life. While this is exactly what he wanted, Red was about to realize that the past was not willing to let go of him so easily. All of our previous entries on this list ended up being rather action-oriented. That is about to change with this next entry named By the Grace of the Gods. The story has us follow a child named Ryoma Takabayashi, who has the strange habit of keeping all kinds of slimes as pets. Even though he was so young, he has a strong body and good capability for magic. This was due to the fact that he endured so much in his previous life that the three gods decided to grave Ryoma with a second chance in order to live out his life in an enjoyable manner. While he lived 3 whole years comfortably by his lonesome, he ends up meeting people that would end up turning his life around. He comes across some soldiers who had a wounded comrade, as Ryoma was quick to help save his life. The group then asked Ryoma to join their party in order to visit the nearby town's Ducal family. This single decision ends up causing Ryoma to take part in a journey to visit the vast world that he has yet to explore. The relaxing premise is sure to be a breath of fresh air to many, yet there is more enticing drama to be enjoyed in the Isekai space. And one good example is the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. When the world's greatest assassin finds himself betrayed and backstabbed by the very organization that he had sworn allegiance to, his frustration causes him to have an audience with a goddess that appreciated his exceptional skill. The goddess ends up giving him another chance at life by reincarnating him in a world of swords and magic with one goal in mind: save the world from destruction by killing its hero. The assassin finds himself reborn as Lu Tuatha De, the son of a noble family of assassins serving the Alvan kingdom. After learning new skills and abilities, he ends up taking up the monumental task that was entrusted to him, while meeting new allies and friends in the process. While all of the previous entries were well made, our number 1 entry in this list, Mushoku Tensei, takes the cake. The story has us follow a 34-year-old shut-in who decides to make something of his life by trying something heroic, only to lose his life in the process. However, he finds himself reincarnated in another world as Rudius Grevrit. Starting his life all over again as a baby, he ends up growing up in this new world with a mind of a grown adult. He learns magic and swordplay while conquering his past fears and maybe even finding love, something that he desperately failed at in his old life. With that, we've reached the end of this video. Do tell us in the comments below what you think about all this. If you want us to make more content like this, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.